Let me just start by saying I wanted to make this video about using Zoom, but using Skype is just so much easier to set up right now for recording interviews and live streams. I think it's something to do with security on Zoom because they're all spying on them or something. So if you're like me and you want a fast way to record or live stream interviews from all around the world for free on a Mac or PC, then this video should help you out. I'll hit you with the downside first. Using Skype will leave a Skype watermark in the top right corner. Well, actually, you can change which corner it shows up, but it's annoying either way. Luckily, I'm going to show you how to get rid of that in this video too. You'll learn how to set up a split screen interview like this for free, and then how to record or live stream it on YouTube. If you only care about live streaming, most of this video is relevant. There's a bit in the middle about recording that isn't. Just click on the chapter and skip that. Good old chapters. Otherwise, let's crack on. Let's do this. Here's the kit you'll need. Skype, obviously. OBS, it's free. Yes. A webcam, yay. And a mic, woohoo. Although most people have these built into their computers, if you do want to step it up a notch, there'll be a brief demo of how you can set up a digital camera to the system so your video quality steps up. And I do mean it will be brief. It's pretty easy, but it will require a cam link, which is the world's most expensive piece of plastic. So here we go, download Skype and OBS. Both free, links in the description. Open Skype, and go to settings, then calling, then advance, and turn on allow NDI. That's it. That's all you do on Skype. And this is why I ditched Zoom, because you have to do about 7 things. It's a nightmare. Now download OBS, select PC or Mac. I'll use a Mac, so PC users just bear with us. Anyway, when you've installed on your Mac or PC, open it. The first thing we want to do is to add a scene. This is where you will add both streams to. Click add and then name it. In this case, I'm going to call it Skype. Now you add your webcam. If you want to add a digital camera, you do this here too. You'll need to plug your camera into an HDMI lead, then into a cam link, then into your computer, and it will appear. If it doesn't, exit OBS and come back in. Still not there, play with the wire connections and turn the camera on and off. Sometimes it does that. There's a link in the description with more details on connecting this all up, so maybe check that out. So select the plus sign and select video capture device and then your webcam or your digital camera if you're a fancy pants. I'd leave the preset on 1280 by 720 for those live streaming. 1080 causes me some lag. Test it yourself though, but YouTube recommends this for live streaming. If you're just recording your interviews, feel free to adjust if your camera settings will let you. So, you should now see yourself on screen in OBS. And also, the mic audio channel should be moving about too. Basically, just means your mic's working. If you're using a digital camera, you'll need your mic plugged into your camera for it to all carry with the HDMI. Otherwise, your computer mic will most likely kick in as default. To change mics, go to Settings, Audio, then select your mic in the drop down. This applies if you're using an external mic for this particular project too. Now it's time to set up your guest. Go over to Sources and click Add and select the plus sign and hit up NDI. If you do not see this, you may need to update your version of OBS or download the OBS NDI patch. I'm not sure if that's a word, plugin, patch, whatever it is. I'm sure the nerds will tell me in the comments I'm doing it wrong. Download the latest version first. I did that on my laptop and I don't remember downloading anything else, so couldn't have been easy really. Now add it and name it. This next part depends on if you want to keep your participant waiting or not, but I'm going to advise you don't keep them waiting. So this will also show you how to hide that annoying Skype watermark and make a video or stream that looks something like this, or this. So there are different ways to display your video. You can go for a picture-in-picture where you're both visible. So that could mean one of you is very small and the other larger, or like the image I just showed you, you could switch between both appearing in full screen when you talk. You can do that in Skype and select the drop-down option from OBS that recognises this, or just select the camera you want to show and press up on the source key to move the speaker to the front. Now, doing it this way requires constant changing, which is why I'm not a fan. It doesn't look that great either, especially if everyone's on webcams. Now, I prefer the double on-screen look and brand it and make it look pretty awesome. So let's walk you through having both on screen. The first option is something like this, where the image is cropped and the participants take up kind of half of the screen space too, but it's a little bit cropped. The plus side is you can see more of those beautiful faces, and the downside is you'll just need to encourage your guests not to move too far out of the cropped image. So for a look like this, right click on your own camera in Source and select Filters, then press Add and select Crop and Pad. Now you can resize your videos. So to make them both fit on the screen with a little breathing room, go for 325 on the left and right and 20 on the top and bottom. You can play with this as much as you want. This then hides that stupid Skype logo, no offense Skype. Now click on your NDI source. This is where it will connect to Skype later, But for now, don't worry, we're just going to speed up the design so your guest doesn't wait. Now you might have nothing in the source description to start, which is fine. Just press OK, then right click on NDI source, go to filters and apply the same crops as before. You can position your own video now, and then when you call your guest, just resize or position their already cropped video to the other side so you won't waste much of their time. Simple, right? If you don't like the black edge crop here, you can make a simple frame like this in Photoshop or Canva and then just apply it on top. Just remember, when you go live, you might want to ask them to move their camera about a little if they're getting cut off. By the way, you can add more people to this too. Probably wouldn't go above 4 those, it might get a little bit laggy depending on your setup and your internet. To add a frame, let's use this as an example, which I knocked up on Photoshop quickly. Go to sources, select add, and then hit image and add your frame and move it about. So now you can see your video framed and the space to fill theirs with. You can do tons on OBS with customization, so let's look at a style similar to showed you earlier, which you can brand and really make look amazing. It's worth noting the Skype logo will show in this version, but you could always crop it. Now I've showed you how to too. So let's start with a cool video background. Something subtle, a little bit of movement. You can make something in your editing software or animate an image or look for some stock. I've gone with this. You don't want it to overpower the content you're watching, just to add a little pizzazz to it. Pizzazz! Click New Source and select VLC Video Source. Click Loop and then select your video and hit OK. Now we're going to add your webcam video in the same way as last time. I built a frame for these as well as name badges, which you'll add by clicking the plus, then image and resizing. I've made mine for the guest too and lined it up. Pretty simple. You can add all sorts on there. What I also want to do is show up some other slides that go full screen whilst we're having a chat. So when my guest is talking, I might want to show their website or their Instagram page or anything that's relevant to them. So click on Scenes, then add a new source and select Window Capture, name it, and pick your window to show. So here we have our YouTube channel in a browser, which I'll show, and then I'll move about all over the page and it moves on screen. You could size it to replace the smaller screen or go full screen. If you want to show this when streaming, you just click on it in the scene section and add a transition to make it slicker. Let's add a swipe. So when you do activate it, there's this nice animation. And there we go, it's looking good. Boom, ready to call up our guest. But there is one last thing. Now you might have noticed there's only one audio channel when I switch scene. So what we need to do here is go back and add the NDI source underneath the window capture so that the sound carries through when we change scenes. Now I have looked at other ways of doing this and I've seen some suggestions online, but I just couldn't get them working. So if you know of a way of getting the sound to carry over from one scene to another, please do let me know in the comments and I'll pin it to the top. Once you've re-added your NDI source to any scenes that you've built, it should change over pretty seamlessly when you click on it and you won't have any sound issues during your stream. So call them up on Skype and make sure you can see and hear them on Skype first. If it's not working there, it's not going to work on OBS either. Then go over to your NDI source and select the settings cog and go to source name. You should now see a whole list. You want to select the option with their username on. Click it. I tend to find that auto preview is really slow here and doesn't show anything. In fact, I think it only shows something once. So you have to click it and then see it on screen. Hopefully your computer's better than mine. So now you should see them in OBS. If you can't, make sure your Skype has video calls on and so does theirs as well as their audio. If everything is working, you should be able to see the mic moving in the waveform on OBS. So get them to do a bit of a sound test for you. Make sure that it doesn't clip into the red on this level. If it does, turn down their mic a little bit. So now let's do some adjustments. First, resize them to fit to your template. If you cropped before, that's taken care of. If not, you just have to do it now and adjust. Their screen looks a little dark to me, so right click on their video in the source, select filters and select color correction. Here you can play with the image settings, make it brighter, more vibrant, and try to make both streams look their best. So if you plan on recording this remote interview, then we're pretty much at the end now. Click on settings, go to output, select recording, and then select where you want the video to record to. It could be an external drive or your hard drive, just by clicking browse, and then select your recording format. I'd recommend MP4, they're very easy files to work with, you can upload them anywhere straight away. Try and avoid MKV because they are a nightmare to convert sometimes. So now some tests. Test 1, can you see them and hear them okay? Yeah? No? Okay, you can. Is their audio working and not too loud? The same for yours. You don't want to be miles louder or way quieter. Do you guys look the part? Test 2, is there any lag on the actual video call? If so, make sure they're not downloading or uploading anything. The more internet power they have, the better for the stream. Test 3, have they got any food around their face or spilt stuff on their shirt? No? Okay. Well, if that's looking good, you're ready now. You just hit the start recording button on OBS and it will record the video and sound of both of you to your computer. That's it. If it's a long stream and you don't have much space, or even if you do, I'd recommend recording to an external drive. Now, do one last test, hit record, have a very short chat, and just rewatch that file. You're good to go, hopefully. Press start recording again, and you're off. Interview on. Now, I admit asking to test like this with your guests isn't that professional. Any issues should be sorted in OBS before, but there's always a chance that you miss something and forget to test something. So it's better than spending an hour doing a video to realise you need to do the whole thing again because the sound was off. So if you don't care about live streaming an interview to YouTube, this is where you hop off. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe, all that stuff is of course, it's free in the thing below, 70 videos, there's a link in the description. Go and tell your mother you love her, be nice to people. What else? That's about it. If you did want to stream a pre-recorded interview on a live show, then there's a video in the description that will show you how to do that. Okay, for everyone else who wants to stream this bad boy live on YouTube, buckle up because it's gonna be a smooth ride. Smooth. So, the first thing we want to look at is the streaming settings. We'll test a few different ways of doing it together first though. I wouldn't recommend doing all of this when your guest is on. If you have 2 devices with Skype, do it way in advance of your call. Go to settings and select output. And then click on output mode and select advanced. This gives you new options. The first is streaming. Now this is the setting you're going to change a few times in your testing. It's called rescale output. So let's start with 1920 by 1080 or full HD as you may know it. This is going to be the dream resolution, and if you set up and handle it, looks awesome. Then select bitrate, but what does that mean? To put it simply, the higher a bitrate, the better the quality and the more strain it will put on your hardware. Now, YouTube suggests a bitrate of 2500, which seems really low. We're going to ramp ours up to 5500 because we're all about big numbers here with our small following. And okay, the next section is recording. You can record and stream at the same time using OBS. It's pretty cool for marketing as you can cut out the best bits and repurpose them. Note, it will of course mean your computer needs space to store the video files and more power will be used. If you're streaming to YouTube, it saves it for you later anyway. Now select audio. Again, something to test, but I've set ours out to 128. If most people watch on phones, they're probably not going to notice much of a difference anyway. So that's the basics. You can spend forever in there testing if you like, and you should spend some time, not forever, that's too long. So now we're rocking and rolling, you can set up another camera if you like, so you can switch during the recording to a second angle, or add your computer screen like I was showing you earlier to show what's there, images, build your presentation. You've watched the first half of the video, you know the deal. If you haven't, go and watch it. So let's conduct the first test. This is at 1080p with a bitrate of 5000. Go to YouTube and select go live. Don't worry, you don't just go live straight away. Name it 1080p with a bitrate of 5000 and audio 128. You can keep it unlisted for now or private. Select that it isn't for kids if it isn't, and then hit create stream. Down the bottom, you might notice these latency settings. These are basically delays. So normal is the most delayed. I tend to find that the live stream is about 30 seconds behind on the YouTube streams I do than on real life. Now, this gives you better quality streams, but if you want to have a live chat, it's not great. You'll be delayed, so you'll need to select low and ultra low. You can easily see how delayed you are once you go live, so it's another thing to test based on your situation. Now, select the stream key, it's all blurred out, hit copy and go to OBS, then settings, then stream and paste it into the gap. Oh, and make sure you change your service section to YouTube and hit save. So, nothing should happen yet. Hit start streaming on OBS. Don't worry, this doesn't send you live straight away. YouTube may take a little while to find your stream, but when it does, it will display your connectivity. Hopefully it says excellent. In fact, I've never actually not seen mine say excellent. So, look at me. Click on stream health and it will suggest changes. Because we have a very high bitrate, it's gonna say reduce it. Don't worry for now, you don't actually have to. Then hit go live. It takes a few seconds and you're off. So here's a few tests on these settings. Get the link up for the live video you're currently streaming on your device, on a mobile or another device. If you can't find it, you'll need to go to your YouTube studio and select the videos, then live. It should be there, and then hit the link to watch it. Firstly, check out the quality of image and sound. Is it crisp or a little blurred? you can compare it to the image you can see in OBS. It shouldn't be as good a quality. Try presenting from, I mean, if you can get it as good, amazing, but it probably won't be, unless you're a pro. But why are you watching this? Try presenting for a while and keep an eye on the image. Now, try moving a lot to see if that lags, and finally check out the latency. How far ahead of the stream are you? Once you've done stop, you watch the video back too. If there's no lag, the latency works, and the sound works, then you're okay to go. Ah, that was easy-ish. I only had to watch like 20 minutes of video. If it's not the best, go back and drop your bitrate and try again. Then, if that still isn't ideal, go drop to 720p. And to do this, go to the settings, output, then select 1280 by 720 and try again, and then play with bringing the bitrate up and down. We wouldn't recommend going below 720p. It's the first kind of step of HD. After that, it's not gonna look that good. In OBS, you also want to keep an eye on your CPU usage. On my setup, I tend to see the computer sit between 25 to 30%. It makes the fans fire up quite a lot. If you start to go over 60%, you might find it hits the stream and maybe your computer isn't powerful enough, or you need to play with the settings more. So once that's done, really it's all just about your background and your lighting, which is incredibly important. There's no point having a pro stream if you're a shadow or you're showing everyone how untidy your spare room is in high definition, right? Man, my voice is hurting, that was so long. So hopefully your brain's not fried. Anyway, if you found this useful, you'll probably find this about streaming pre-recorded videos using OBS, or this one here about setting up your DSLR or mirrorless camera to go live on YouTube in a bit more detail. Thanks for watching.